Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. October 25th, 2017.
105 here in the great WRKO. Okay, the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Do you think Hillary Clinton will finally be going to jail? If you believe the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680. If you believe the answer is no, Jeff, it's the Clinton crime family, they always get away with it, text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
65% no, they don't believe that Hillary Clinton will go to jail, and 35% say yes, she will go to jail.
So basically 1/3 of the audience thinks she will, and 2/3 of the audience thinks she won't.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to go to jail either.
You think she's going to skate?
Yeah. If that, she might name some names and everything. I don't think that she's going to go out without taking a swing. She's not going to go down without fighting, so we'll see what happens, but I highly doubt that she'll be put in prison for this.
Interesting. All right, so Brittany is with the majority on this one. 617-266-6868. Okay, before I continue, my friends, I rarely do this. I like to come in, as you know, with a monologue and then take calls. But I've got a column out today. I'm asking everybody a call to action, Kuhner Country. Go to WRKO.com. It's Kuhner's Corner. It's right up there. You can read my column. It's on Elizabeth Warren. I blow the whistle on Elizabeth Warren, how she lied, completely fabricated that story about being sexually harassed / assaulted, she says, when she was a young faculty member. The title is Elizabeth Warren Lied About Being Sexually Harassed. The local media here is desperately trying to cover this scandal up. Please read it, download it, pass it on to your friends, colleagues, family members. Let's get it out there, disseminate it as widely as possible. Okay. As I was saying just before the break, when you actually think about what's going on here, it is to me very clear that Mueller himself is eventually, I think, going to be forced to recuse himself. The pressure is now growing immense. Why? Because it was his FBI, in which the FBI informant, when he was this American businessman that we now know, who had penetrated the Russian nuclear industry, who was the whistleblower, saying that he had secret emails, even secret audio taped. He was taping people, all kinds of documentation that shows the massive extent of the bribery, extortion, kickbacks, racketeering that took place on behalf of Uranium One. And this businessman has evidence that directly implicates the Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Mueller knew this. Rosenstein, who is then an assistant attorney at the FBI, now the deputy AG, the one who commissioned Mueller and named him as the special counsel, he is the one that also oversaw that investigation. Both of them signed off on the Uranium One deal, even knowing that there was all of this massive criminality that lay underneath it. So the question now is, I'm telling you, the pressure is already building. It's going to keep building. How can this guy remain as the special prosecutor? He's got a conflict of interest. He's no longer objective or impartial, not even close. His hands are now soiled and dirty with this. So what is now happening is that this Russia story is now literally starting to politically blow up in the media's face and in the Democrats' face. You also have Eric Holder, who threatened this FBI informant, as well as Loretta Lynch, imposing a gag order on him, preventing him he wanted to get all this information out to Congress. They prevented him. In fact, not only did they prevent him, they said, you're going to go to jail and we're going to financially penalize you to the extent you're going to lose every cent you own. Everything. So Lynch was in on it. Holder was in on it. Mueller was in on it. Rosenstein was in on it. And now the big question is going to be, I'm telling you, like Watergate, what did Obama know and when did he know it? And so this thing is now going to grow and grow. You now have members of Congress who are now opening a full investigation. They are now going to be subpoenaing this FBI informant. So Sessions may lift the gag order. He's now debating it. They're deliberating on it. Even if he doesn't, Congressman DeSantis, who's now one of the people leading a subcommittee, says we are going to subpoena him and we will hear him in public give testimony exactly on all the information he has that is now going to incriminate the Clintons. So believe me, this scandal is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And as all of this is going on, yesterday, President Trump met with senior Republicans up on Capitol Hill to discuss tax reform. And I'll get to the feud between him and Flake and him and Corker shortly. But as he made his way in, a rabid liberal by the name of Ryan Clayton, it's now been confirmed he is a member of a partisan liberal organization, somehow breached security up on Capitol Hill. Trump was walking into the room where he was going to meet the senators for lunch. He's giving a thumbs up to the reporters that are there, people that are there, and then this guy starts throwing Russian flags at Trump, saying treason, treason, treason. And I want you to listen now to MS Left BC. Here is an analyst at MS Left BC, Craig Melvin, to show you what's going to happen to the media. They have now so whipped themselves up into a frenzy. They've so indoctrinated themselves and others, their base, about Russia, collusion, Trump, Putin, meddling. He actually says that when Trump was giving the thumbs up, it's because he was saluting the Russian flag. I swear to you. Roll it, Brittany.
There, walking by with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. It should be noted that the Senate Majority Leader and the President of the United States didn't even flinch. And there's the video again queued up. Yeah, it's...
Give him the thumbs up. Didn't even flinch. Didn't even flinch. And you got people are they like you're so in other words what they're trying I'm telling you the implication is he so loves Russia, he so loves Putin, he so loves that Russian flag that when that flag was being thrown at him, thumbs up, he didn't even flinch. He loves that flag. He automatically salutes that flag. They are now seriously, I'm telling you, they are really off the deep end. They are seriously off the deep end. So this Uranium One story, as it is now getting bigger and bigger with the Podesta Group story, all of it now. The DNC, we've now come out, the DNC, the Clinton campaign, having paid Dirty Clinton using Kremlin dirt to go smear Trump, that they paid for the Trump dossier, the infamous phony Trump dossier, that all of this was part of a massive dirty tricks operation, in which the FBI then took the Trump dossier. The CIA took the Trump dossier. And if you remember, they then presented it to Trump himself at their first briefing when he was president-elect. And Comey even admitted it, that he was using it as leverage on Trump. And that's when the media started to report the contents of the dossier, saying, well, the president was briefed on it. To humiliate him, to undermine him, to smear him. All of this we now see is a tangled web. And all roads from Russia lead to Hillary, Bill, and eventually Obama himself. And I'm telling you, you follow the evidence and you follow the money. Newt Gingrich is 1,000% correct. This is the biggest political scandal in American history. Bigger than Teapot Dome, bigger than the Grant presidency in the 1870s, bigger than Watergate, bigger than Iran-Contra, bigger than you name the scandal. This is by far the biggest. 617-266-6868. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, to begin with, Jeff, this is more than a scandal. This is an attempt to overthrow this country. And you know what? J. Edgar Hoover would never have allowed all of this to happen. And the FBI is this one part of the government that's supposed to go after communists. And it looks like to me that all these people have been infiltrated and are all part of the Communist Party because where Obama's leanings were from his own words. And if this is more, nothing's going to happen to these people. They've had all these years to turn around and gain all this power, and they still have the power. When you hear Trey Gowdy say he can't get any cooperation from the FBI, he says this is from the Trump administration.
Well, look, do I have confidence in Trey Gowdy? No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. Do I have confidence in Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan? No, I don't. What I think is the wild card here, and that's why I go back to my phone calls last night, is that now it's the Washington Post that's breaking this story. The New York Times, it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. Another shoe is going to drop on Hillary. What's now happening is the Democrats have made a decision that they're going to have to cut some losses. They're going to have to cut their losses, that this story is just too big for them now to ignore, suppress, or contain. And so the decision, I believe, has been made. I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you what my sources are telling me, that they're now going to try to pin all of this on Hillary and Bill Clinton. They're going to blame all of it on Hillary and Bill Clinton. Because it's bigger than Hillary, and it's bigger than Bill. They're just one piece of it. Because if you really follow the money, I'm telling you, it's not just Hillary and it's not just Bill. Will the media allow Eric Holder to fall? Will they allow Loretta Lynch to fall? I'm being candid with you. A liberal black attorney general? A liberal female black attorney general? Obama, the first black president of the United States, who they were completely in the tank for, and have him go down in one of the greatest corruption scandals in American history? If it's a choice between Hillary and Obama, I'm telling you, the media, no matter how much they cover for Hillary, they will cut her loose in a second. The dear leader, he's Lenin. Stalin, you could humiliate. Khrushchev, if you remember 1956, blamed all the crimes on Stalin. Stalin, you can humiliate. Lenin, never. Hillary is Stalin. Obama is Lenin. That's the difference. Tom in New Jersey. Go ahead, Tom.
Jeff, the detail you're giving on Uranium One, Fox is like kind of slow walking it, although Hannity's doing a good job. Jeff, you were blowing this out of the water. I really, you are Paul Revere on steroids, and I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you, Tom.
Jeff, this makes General Benedict Arnold look like a Boy Scout. Jeff, what we're looking at here is the entire funding apparatus for the Democrat Red Devil Party is looking like almost the criminal enterprise. I mean, Jeff, we have heavy hitters that signed off on this deal. That's why I think we're going to agree with Arthur. I think we're going to get to Stonewall Jackson on this. We're going to get this stonewalled because some real heavy hitters signed off on it. And, Jeff, you exposed it. You know, if I sell you a bag of yellow lemons for $10, you're probably not going to use the lemons. You're going to turn around and sell the lemons for $15 on the street. Could you imagine, God in heaven, if this uranium ended up in North Korea or Iran? I mean, both have decent relationships with Putin. This is big, Jeff. This is so big that it's almost indescribable. Let's see if serving Trey Gowdy puts his hands on this. Let's see if this truly goes where the evidence leads them. This is indescribable, Jeff, and I pray for you. I'll be lighting votive candles, and I pray for America.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tom. Well, now we're going to find out, are there any patriots up on Capitol Hill? Now we're going to find out what some people are made of, what Jeff Sessions is made of, ultimately what President Trump is made of. We're now going to find out exactly what people are made of. And hopefully we'll have a few honest patriots up on the Hill. Because if we do, you're talking the story of the century. 617-266-6868. More with your calls. Next. Willie in Dorchester. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, Willie?
All right. The thing that's going to keep Bill and Hillary out of jail is those 900 FBI files that they got when he was in office.
I'm sorry, Willie. Can you explain that? What do you mean?
When he was in office, I don't know how he got them, but he had got 900 FBI files.
Oh, you're talking about Obama.
No, Clinton, Bill Clinton.
When he was in office, yes, that he collected all these on Republicans and so forth, these files, these dossiers on them.
Yes, and he didn't collect them for nothing.
So you're saying, Willie, thank you for that call, Willie. Basically what you're saying is, we go down, you go down. So we better not go down. With the Clintons, honestly, nothing would surprise me. Aaron in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Aaron.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call, brother.
My pleasure, Aaron.
I have a question for you on how the media is going to cover this or not cover it, because I think it's instrumental in if Hillary gets prosecuted or not. We all know that the mainstream media is in bed with the liberals, especially the Clintons. And for the mainstream media to attack one of their own, a story has to be so immoral or so egregious, they're forced to do it, because if they don't do it, it's going to make them look bad. They're going to have to do it to save their own face.
Yes.
One story that comes to mind is the old John Edwards story. Remember when he cheated on his wife with cancer with an escort?
Yes.
I mean, they had to cover that, because if they didn't, he was their baby before that happened. So in the society that we live in today, where a social story, say like football players taking a knee, may take precedence over North Korea having nukes and threatening us with it, do you think CNN is going to look at its viewers and think that their viewers are going to look at them in such an immoral and outlandish way that they have to cover this properly? Or do you think that they're going to try to sweep it under the rug? Because I'll tell you what, Jeff, this is extremely big. This isn't a light thing right now. And if they don't cover it correctly, this could lose all credibility for all the mainstream media sources.
Well, no, Aaron, look, you touched on something I think very profound, which is that the media, what they're realizing now is that Mueller is not going to deliver on Russia for them, because there is not a scintilla of evidence that Trump colluded with Putin. It's the opposite now. Mueller is investigating the Podesta group. He's now got the Podesta group in his crosshairs, because everywhere he looks, yes, there's Russian influence, but it's all to Hillary. It's all to Bill. It's all to the Clinton Foundation. It's all to Obama. And so the media now has to make a very critical decision. How much longer can they continue to cover up for the Clintons? How much? Because if this thing blows, and it's starting to blow, CNN, I mean, if they don't cover this, and I think eventually they're going to be forced to, I know we think of them as a joke, but even their viewers are going to say, what? Biggest story of our time? And you guys wouldn't even mention it? So the pressure is now building and building and building. John in New Hampshire. Go ahead, John.
Comrade Kuhner.
John, how are you?
Good, sir. 2 questions for you.
Yes.
First of all, how can this not be treason?
It is
true.
It is.
We're not talking about a soldier deserting his post here. We're talking about top-ranking United States government officials selling uranium, fissionable nuclear material to our enemies.
And bought and paid for. You know, it's not even like, oh, it was literally bribed, bought, and paid for. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, in a different age, in a different time, they'd be hanged. They'd either be hanged or they'd be facing the firing squad. What she did, let's be crystal clear now, Hillary Clinton violated the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. She clearly broke the law. And so if anybody in Congress does their job, some of these people are going to start to go to jail. And I say amen. Okay, let's take it to Evan Heidenrich in the newsroom. I hear that, Evan, you've got breaking news on the Las Vegas shooting. 136 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, the establishment versus President Trump. Jeff Flake announces he's not going to be running for re-election next year. I'm going to get to that, I promise. But I just one more point, and then we can take your calls, and we'll move on as well. A very good text, by the way. This is from 617. Jeff, could you imagine the control Russia would have had over Hillary if she won? Can you say blackmail? Bingo. I'm telling you, that's why this is such a big story. Now, if you remember, in 2012, several months before the election in November, President Obama, President Obama, the dear leader, was caught on a hot mic speaking then to Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, where he actually refers to Putin as Vladimir. Remember what Obama told Dmitry Medvedev about Putin. Roll it, Brittany.
My last election, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah, I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir. I understand.
Tell Vladimir, this is my last election. After this election, I'm going to have a lot more flexibility. Here, play it again, Brittany. Play it again.
My last election, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility.
And then Medvedev says, okay, I pass that on to Vladimir. Thank you, I appreciate it. I pass on the message. He was caught on a hot mic, colluding with the Russians. Hey, wink, wink. We've given him a lot. We're going to give him even more. Just tell Vladimir, cool his jets a little bit, okay? Take it easy. I got to deal with Mitt Romney. You know, the 1980s want their foreign policy back, all of that. And then, wink, wink, we can really rock and roll. So they're going on about Trump having colluded with Putin here on a freaking hot mic, You can hear him saying, listen, Putin and I, hey, we're going to do some great things together. Just let me get through this election. So again, because these are irrefutable facts. Who gave Putin Crimea? Who gave Putin Eastern Ukraine? Who gave Putin Syria? Who gave Putin the Iran deal? Who gave Putin that ridiculous nuclear treaty whereby the Russians modernized their nuclear arsenal and we, on the other hand, slashed our nuclear arsenal? Who made Russia a great power on the world stage as we gutted our military and Putin was able to expand Russian influence everywhere? Who gave the Russians the strategic uranium reserves of America? Hillary Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama. Who got over $145 million to the Clinton Foundation? $145 million. Hillary and Bill Clinton. Straight from the Russians. Judas's price was 30 pieces of silver. Hillary's price was 145 mil. This is treason of the highest order. This is selling America, pimping her out on the highest order. This is Russia influencing not just our nuclear industry, but our State Department, our Department of Justice, the highest echelons of power all the way up until into the White House. That's the story that we're sitting on. And as all of this took place, remember, those were 8 long years. Where was McManiac? Where was Bob Corker? Where was Jeff Flake? Where was Mitch McConnell? Where was Susan Collins? Where was Lisa Murkowski? Where was the stinking Rhino establishment? Where was Paul Rhino Ryan? They capitulated and caved and caved and caved. They were utterly useless, inept, and ineffective. And I'm being charitable, because I think many of them, frankly, were compromised as well. And now, when there's a real sheriff in town, a genuine non-politician, somebody outside of the political class, not part of the swamp, not part of the Washington establishment and the Washington cartel, a billionaire who you can't bribe or buy off, a man who speaks from the heart, suddenly look at the open revolt. I'm an American historian. That's my specialty. I went to Ohio University. I frankly studied under the best. I taught history. I taught history at McGill. My wife is also a professor. I am telling you, as an American historian, this is utterly unprecedented. That so many leading members of one political party openly mock, ridicule, and defy a president of their own party. This has never happened before. Never. And so the latest rhino to now publicly go after Trump, but announce that he will not be seeking re-election because he's going to lose. He's going to get his clock cleaned, was none other than Judas Jeff Snowflake. So there's Jeff Flake on the Senate floor saying he's not going to run for re-election. But he's speaking to the children of America. And he says Trump's rhetoric is outrageous, it's reckless, and it's actually demeaning to our democracy. He now fears, according to him, for the very moral fiber of our nation. Roll it, Brittany.
Reckless, outrageous, and undignified behavior has become excused and countenanced as telling it like it is, when it is actually just reckless, outrageous, and undignified.
This to me is unbelievable. And then, listen to this again, channeling his McManiac, channeling his Bob Corker, channeling the Rhino establishment. Listen to him saying, he's so unhinged. Finger on the nuclear button. Well, not God help us. Heaven itself help us. Roll it, Brittany.
We must never allow ourselves to lapse into thinking that that is just the way things are now. If we simply become inured to this condition, thinking that it is just politics as usual, then heaven help us. Without fear of the consequences, and without consideration of the rules of what is politically safe or palatable, we must stop pretending that the degradation of our politics and the conduct of some in our executive branch are normal. They are not normal.
Honestly, it's pathetic. No, this really is pathetic. First of all, let's be very candid, okay? Let's put our cards on the table, as the Germans would say. This guy refused to run for re-election because he was down 32 points against Kelly Ward. He was facing a Trump conservative primary challenger that would have kicked his rear end from one end of Arizona to the other. He was going to get shellacked. I mean, slaughtered. Just like Corker was going to get his clock cleaned by Marsha Blackburn. So there they are, Mr. Profiles in Courage, standing there and spitting on the President of the United States to ingratiate themselves with the mainstream media and the elites in Washington. But they are so hated by their voters back home. They can't even win a primary. Forget the primary. He was going to get his claw cleaned by the Democrat had he somehow miraculously won the primary. So here you had a guy who was so disconnected from the people of Arizona, they hate him. They hate him. And you're lecturing us on decorum and dignity and what's outrageous and what's reckless? So, I want you to think about this. By the way, McManiac called him a hero. John McShane came out and said, a man of true honor, a man of true principle, a very special American, an American hero. Yeah, another loser like you. Another one like you. How you kissed away the 2008 presidential election. But let that go. Let that go. You know, nobody can dress up surrender as principle better than the rhinos. They're like the Vichy Republicans. Oh, can they dress up defeat, capitulation, and surrender as principle like nobody else? I'm telling you, they're amazing at it. So, I'm listening to these clowns. You want to talk to me about what's outrageous? Let's talk to you about what's outrageous. Your state is overrun with illegal immigrants. I know, my sister-in-law lives there. Illegal alien crime is through the roof. Arizonans are being murdered and raped by illegal aliens. You can't even stand up to defend the wall. You're the biggest free trader in Congress, shipping out 60,000 factories, millions of jobs, are manufacturing right down the freaking river. And you know who was lining Jeff Flake's pockets? Wasn't the Russians, the Chinese. So here you have a guy bought and paid for by Beijing who's frankly so stupid he can't even speak half decent hand Chinese. I figure, hey, if you're going to be, if you're going to take millions of dollars from the Chinese, at least learn how to say hello in Chinese. I don't know, whatever it is. Hikato, to, whatever. Just say it. At least, show that you're some kind of a half decent shill. He is literally so stupid. I'm telling you, he is so dumb. This guy doesn't even know how to say hello or bye in Chinese. Even the Chinese are saying, I've never seen a guy like this before. He takes our money and he can't even say hello in our language. Whatever. Okay, ni hao. Ni hao. Ni hao. Would it have killed you to learn that? I just learned it now in 5 seconds with Brittany in my ear. That's what's outrageous. What's outrageous is the $20 trillion debt. What's outrageous are Obama's executive amnesties that you funded. What's outrageous, Snowflake, is that in your state, healthcare premiums went up 116%. Businesses bankrupted. People's lives shattered and destroyed. They can't even go to a hospital and pay for an operation because Obamacare has driven up their premiums and deductibles so high. And what did you do? You funded it every step of the way. So let me ask you, Mr. All now about dignity and decorum. Tell me, when Obama lied to us 24 times, you like your health care, you can keep your health care. Did you denounce him on the Senate floor? Tell me, when he lied repeatedly about the terrorist mass murder of 4 Americans in Benghazi and then covered it up, did you denounce him on the Senate floor? Snowflake. Tell me, Jeffy. Let me ask you this, Snowflake. Judas Jeff. Tell me, Fast and Furious, when guns were being illegally run across the Arizona-Mexico border and then coming back in to cities like Phoenix or in other places like in Dallas or Houston or L.A., and Border Patrol agents were being killed by those guns. Tell me, did you denounce Obama on the Senate floor, Jeffy? You phony, you fraud, you. What is now going on is, believe it or not, Trump is actually implementing a purge of the Republican Party. And all of these rhinos are yelling and screaming and denouncing him like spoiled little children. But one by one, they're falling like dominoes. Luther Strange fell in Alabama, Bob Corker in Tennessee, Jeff Flake in Arizona. Let's go for Deb Fischer in Nebraska. Let's do Dean Heller in Nevada. Let's go after Senator Barrasso in Wyoming. Let's go after Mitch the Squish McConnell in Kentucky. Let's go after Murkowski in Alaska. Let's go after Susan Collins in Maine. In other words, let's have a real Republican Party. Let's have a real conservative party. Let's have a real party that puts America, not the elites, not the Globe, not the Chamber of Commerce, but America first.
Reckless, outrageous, and undignified behavior has become excused and countenanced as telling it like it is, when it is actually just reckless, outrageous, and undignified.
Oh, get lost. And don't let the door hit you on the way out, Jeff Snowflake. Nick in Weymouth. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Jeff, bunch of things, but as quick as I can go. Yeah, Jeff Flake, didn't he vote for Loretta Lynch? Yeah, he's in that little community of 7, 10, 13 senators who always go against the grain when it really counts. He did a little straw horse deal. Remember Olympia Snow took that thing out of committee for Obamacare, and thanks to that, it eventually got to be voted on, and that was the end of that deal. He tried the same thing with Garland, by the way. He was one of the guys who was protesting that Garland should have a chance to be interviewed, right? And of course, when it came time, when he saw the dust out there, what the people were saying, with an election coming up pretty soon, he went nay on, approving him, whatever. So he's a phony. And the voters of Nevada, of Arizona know that as well, Jeffrey. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree completely. And Nick, thank you for that call. Tom in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Tom.
What I'm going to say is the words that keep the drumbeat in my head is that at the National Prayer Breakfast, Palmer said he's going to transform this country. And I keep seeing this, and every time the media, if there's something that comes up where we got them dead to right, they misdirect, they distract to make everything, all the focus be taken off of what Trump is trying to do.
Tom, thank you for that call. Look, I think they're going to try. They're trying with the call with Frederico Wilson. They're going to try now with these rhinos criticizing Trump to distract from the big story, which is the uranium Hillary bribery scheme. But I'm telling you, it's not going to work. It's like Watergate. It's just going to be drip, 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 because the evidence is the evidence is the evidence. Bruce in Woburn. I've got 30 seconds. Go, Bruce.
Hey, Jeff, I can't believe this guy's got the same first name as you. And every word that comes out of his mouth is exactly what we think about them. Why is this? And we're going to get our uranium sent over in a missile from the little guy in Korea.
Really, honestly, that's where some of our uranium may have ended up. The missile that he wants to fire on us. Okay, let's take it to Evan Heidenrich. He's got the latest Trump's reaction to the story about the dossier. Next.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 2 o'clock.